G'day guys, and welcome to it's going to be a bit of a quick preview, an early one for Randwick on Saturday. Not sure what the date is. Rail 10 metres out, soft 6 at the moment with windy and dry conditions predicted, so you'd expect something around a 5 or a 6. Can't see it getting much better than that. Probably a 6 is probably realistic. 10 metre rail's normally pretty solid rail position. It's normally plays pretty fair, sort of 1 or 2 off in the straights, normally ideal, and you can sometimes make ground, so there are a few smallish fields, so it may be a bit of a positive to be up on the speed. Only one turn obviously for the sprint races, which most of the card, so the slow tempos in that may not be too effective for those really on speed. It should be a pretty fair day, I'm hoping. And we'll get straight into it. There are some tricky races with a lot of runners resuming and some other funny things going on. First race of the day for the 2-year-olds, Drackeries resumes. Obviously a very good winner, strong winner over 1,000 on a heavy track, straight to 12 on another heavy track, and only beaten 2.5 lengths. Was very solid form in its first preparation. Has trialled like it does want at least 1,200 metres. A little bit concerned that it might be a little bit one-paced, but definitely has to be respected. There's no doubt about that. It does come up favourite, I'm pretty sure. $3.70, so jointish favourite. I'm a little bit surprised by the other joint favourite in Colossimo. Thought its form was just okay. That Brisbane form doesn't travel to Sydney that well, even though it was open class form. Does come to a highly regarded stable now in the Wallace stable from Stephen O'Day, but I expected it to sort of be much bigger odds than what it is. I thought the stablemate to the other favourite, Assimilate, was the one that I really liked. We'll watch. This is a really strongly run and fast run Kembla maiden. Obviously Kembla's a step down from this, but I did like that both good efforts here from the first and second horses who run in this race here in Assimilate and Gresham. We'll see Gresham getting spat out the back early, second last year in the white cap and blinkers. Assimilate's back on the fence here in the China Horse Club colours. We'll show from the turn. This is Assimilate trying to get out to the middle of the track here, and this is Gresham having to come from last. Was a fastish tempo, but they didn't really slow down too much. It was just a fast run race, and they kind of kept the pace up throughout. Assimilate's the one coming through the middle here, and this is Gresham doing a few things wrong and struggling to get onto its right leg and getting home hard. They both have to be solid chances here, and Assimilate does look to box seat possibly, which may not be the greatest place in the world, but with a bit of luck can run well. The Waterhouse runner in Commanding Witness does look the one that is likely to lead, going from the 1,000 to the 1,200, even with the blinkers off here. Can run in a bold race. I do think Drackeries is a worthy favourite, and the one to beat may end up outside the leader in the 1-1 position, and those two runners out of that race, Assimilate and Gresham, look the closers. Had a bit of time for Gretzky's trial, but does look to have come up short enough around the $7 mark as well. It's a funny little race. Not a race I'll probably be paying in unless Assimilate gets out to silly odds. Gresham $7, probably going to get the cleaner run of the two from gate 2 rather than gate 1, but does look well found at $7 for a horse that's still doing things wrong and does look to lack a bit of pace. So it's a tricky race. I'm betting around Colossimo at the $3.90. I think that's very short. Commanding Witness coming off a really suitable win over 1,000 up to the 12 here, looks very short around the $5 mark, despite looking to get a soft lead here. I think whatever sits outside it and on behind it are probably the two most advantaged runners in the race, and that could be Drackeries in Assimilate. Race 2, Highway Class 3, 1,400. Nix Vendetta again looks to roll forward. I don't think DeBeek will be too positive first up, and it does look to set its own tempo, Nix Vendetta. Obviously 200 metres up in distance and keeps the same rider. did have a few things in its favour last start, but probably should have won by further if it did go straight, and $11 looks generous here. Point Percy resumed on a heavy track, gets Bowman, 13 Ds only since that heavy track run where it got very tired. It's hard to find it off that run. I thought it was entitled to probably be a little bit flat here second up. Over a slightly further journey, going up 100 metres. Last try wins, coming back in distance again. It's very difficult for a horse to go as it has here. It's gone 16, 21, 16, 18, 16, back to 14, especially for this sort of horse that takes a lot to wind up. It's obviously going well, but it has had fast paces in its favour the last couple of starts when running on, and probably will leave it too late here, you'd imagine, after giving them a big start from gate 12. Suncraze also looks to give them a start, even though the blinkers go on this time with the winkers coming off. 1400 metres is interesting. He just raced really tired last start. I thought he really took forever to get going, and really just his class got him as close as he did. He's a hard horse to find here. Care to Think looks very well prepped for this. Obviously coming off that Queensland form is a bit of a query, but that 1200 metre Caloundra race behind Prioritise is probably solid enough for this. 1400 does look suitable. Draws ideally. Avdallah will be trying for his life, and possibly the horse to beat, much as I hate tipping against Suncraze. Salesman's racing well. Draws 1. Jumped in trip last time from the 1000 to the 12 and did a good job just going down behind Suncraze and Nix Vendetta. It never really looked comfortable there, and probably tags them from 1. Wouldn't even be surprised if it kicked up and led out to this trip and can run a race. On the fiddles at type, I think it's a half tappy clapper that looks like it'll get well back here and take a while to wind up. I'd probably say it's going to get out sprinted, but wouldn't totally surprise me. It does look to have upside and can be fitter for the second up run off a long spell. Gentle Annie's run on well from well back in the field on a poly track its last couple of starts, and does look a little bit untapped and very hard to line up, and 30 to 1 it I'm definitely not knocking. Magic Ali 25 to 1 or so, definitely not knocking it either. It's a funny race. I think the favourites are well found around the 5 to 2 mark. I think Nix Vendetta's the value at $11 again, and Salesman as well can run a race from that inside gate. Not going to be playing, I wouldn't imagine, in the race, unless just chip around that value and hope for the best, but probably not really keen to bet around Suncraze and Care to Think either, so it's probably a bit of a nothing highway, unfortunately, this week. Race 3, we get Memes setting up the tempo from the inside. I'd be very surprised if Nassac crosses early, and Positive Problems also wants a bit further, so I'd be imagining that Memes will be working a bit early to kick up and hold these two out. Clipper slots in for a perfect run, and Upscale comes across to a nice position as well. Clipper does look the one to beat, looks well positioned throughout here. 21 days back from a Melbourne trip looks ideal, and 1100 metres around here looks ideal. I think the big danger is this horse Magic Alibi, who looks absolutely airborne. Back from the 11 to the 12, I thought it had plenty against last start when it won, and it overcame a pretty tough bias on that day to beat Memes. I think 11's even more suitable. I think Memes will have to kick up and set a bit stronger tempo, and Magic Alibi will be letting rip down the outside. I don't think these horses are going well enough. Secret Trail, Sangiovese, Upscale, Positive Problems resuming, Nassac resuming, to hold out Magic Alibi, and I don't think Memes is going well enough to hold out Clipper from right behind it. So I'd say Clipper's the one first coming after, and Magic Alibi is the closer, and I think those two are clearly the top two picks in the race. And Memes will be battling on. If it can set at the right tempo, it'll run a cheeky race for sure. Race 4, and another race that looks dominated by two runners. Super 2 first up off a really impressive trial and really fast time. If they adopt similar tactics here and try to run them off their feet, I think that is their best option, and definitely looks hard to catch. Lion Couchant probably comes across from the outside to sit outside the leader. Starcross shouldn't have the pace this time to cross these sort of horses. and there'll be a little bit more competition up there for positions. I think that Could Have Been is the one that's suited by a fast tempo here. Drops back from that 1100 where it won last start, where it sort of kind of forced and fell in for left in lone in front, and had to run from that position. This time it should get a bunny to chase, and I think you'll find it's a pretty special horse when it gets a bunny to chase, and I think it's clearly the horse to beat. And I'd say Super 2 again's the chaser. Could Have Been's the one coming after it. I think that Starcross, which came up an early favourite, will start closer to the $7, $8, $9, $10 mark. I don't think $3.50 will be there come race time. Can't really find any other danger to Super 2 or Could Have Been. I think it's a 2-horse race. Maybe Dwarf Star back to the 1,000 from gate 1. Could be a knockout, peaking with Bowman aboard. Race 5, and found this race really difficult. You either take the simple approach that Spending to Win lobs up on a soft tempo, and outside Nick Top probably. I'd say Woomera runs at Gosford hopefully, so if Spending to Win lobs outside Nick Top, which even with Panya aboard I'm hoping it doesn't go too hard. Fitness obviously there this time for Spending to Win, no Kings of Leon chasing it, and it does look clearly the horse to beat. Argent Dior is the horse that does look ready, had everything against it last start and ran really well, just peaked on its run a little bit late. Up the 100 metres here shouldn't affect it, but where it gets to in the run is a bit of a nightmare. There are a lot of similar horses that will be chasing from that position. Then we've got some query runners here, in especially Superstar Bob, who first up from a spell. I think Matt Dale will have it ready to go. I don't think this is probably the most ideal target in the world, but I wouldn't be surprised if he chimes in by the same token. He's drawn ideally, and he does look a nice enough horse. Chatterchak was the one that was chopped out last start, where you don't really know how well he's going. Obviously a bit of a rider change, not sure if it's a positive or negative, and I'm not sure about the horse in general, but it can improve. Aquatics come up pretty short here, and I'm not really sure why, but going back from the 14 to the 12, it took quite a while to wind up last start, and it does look like it may be tested again here. Parlez-Vu's a very dicey horse, ran well first up, can improve, and does look to get that nice little softish tempo, softish sit that it likes, and if it gets exposed late it could run a race for sure and give you a fright. But Spending to Win does look the horse to beat. I think Argent Dior's the horse going well in the race, which needs luck. There is only one bend. If it finds a 3-wide trail, it could be dangerous. Superstar Bob, Parlez-Vu, the knockouts, and Chatterchak's a hard one to line up, but I really think Spending to Win will be hard to beat. Argent Dior and probably Superstar Bob, the main two dangers in a tough little race. Nick Tock should kick on too with 53 on its back, and up there in the firing line, it looks like does getting a soft lead. Race 6, and this is another dicey one. Sound Proposition obviously won well over the mile, setting a really slow tempo in front. Now goes 28 days or 4 weeks and up 200 metres. Does draw wide, but there doesn't look a huge amount of tempo in front, with Marinostro probably not desperate to lead. Jacinto Bay's not a mad leader either. Loyalty Man not really wanting to be in that position. So I think that, with one dig early, Sound Proposition could even lead these. And Process of Elimination does look like a horse with more upside than most of these. Man of His Word was okay last start. Had the back of the winner and plugged away up to 1800 metres on the 7-day back up. Looks okay. It's got to run out the 18. A little bit surprised that it does back up a week later, but can run well. Jacinto Bay does not win out a turn. Obviously looks like it'll roll forward here into a sort of a leader or outside leader position, and the firmer track will help it. It looks an each way hope. Leopari just looks like that mile is his go. Obviously loses Bowman, gets to 1800 metres here, and comes up a fairly short price favourite around the $4 mark. So it's hard. It's got a few knocks against it this week. Not really sure. Loyalty Man whacked away last start down in Melbourne. Looks to be going okay, but just okay. I'm not really sure about it either. Orvray could probably improve back on a drier surface. So Willie is going well in similar fashion to Leopari. Was held by Leopari last week, but does look one that can run out 1800 a little bit stronger than Leopari possibly. And Avro Sun down the bottom is absolutely flying in much easier company and does look over the odds at $23, but probably more from a place perspective around the $5 mark. The place looks an attractive bet. I can't chime into sound proposition at the $4 mark, but it, by process of default and elimination, does look the horse to beat. So Willie down there also probably the main danger. Jacinto Bay kicking along from that outside position. And Avro Sun looking the value in an ugly little race for mine. Race 6, race 7. 1100 metre race, and we've got, that's a good idea. Let's have a look at the map. That's a good idea, and highly geared, likely to push forward. Highly geared gets Rachel King aboard this week. I would love to see her kick up and really run these along a bit. I think if she put these under pressure nice and early, it would be to her advantage. That's a good idea. Slots in behind, possibly outside the leader, could even lead if they don't decide to put the foot down a bit early on highly geared. Felines hold that position third defence if that's a good idea, does not cross to it. Boss Lane, Kadiro, Petrosian floating out there, and Reldas will probably be last. Reldas is an interesting horse, has a nice turn of foot and probably suited by what's going to happen here. Just has to get to the outside at the right time. I like the barrier that Kadiro's drawn. I think it suits his style, being out there wide around this one turn. He'll have all the time in the world to wind up and can run well. Felines is 1100 metres, not sure, and a dry track will be as dry to the drier the better for her, obviously, but $3.50 looks short enough. That's a good idea. Hasn't won in quite a while, and he's short enough at the $5. It's a funny race. I think $9 highly geared is definitely a big odds if it ran along and got the front and ran along. It looks attractive. Kadiro, I think, will get out from the $6 and looks attractive, and I think Reldas will probably get out from the $5.50. They're the three that I could possibly play, but anything can win this race except for I can't see Petrosian winning, and it's only $9. And Boss Lane off its last start effort in the morning was pretty soft. So apart from those two, I can see most winning, but I'd be definitely betting around Felines at this early price. And highly geared does look the best option at $9. Race 8, and I believe Your Way will be coming out. Kings of Leon, a fairly short price favourite from Bolero King. Torpenhound next pick. Does look a pretty soft race. Lord Von Costa's an enigmatic type that gets back. Draws wide, which will help it. 28 days between runs, and it's $18 with Your Way in at the moment. It'll probably come in a touch from that, obviously, but it does look fair value. I thought Last Witness was ready to win. I'm just not sure this is its right race. I did love the way it found the line last start out wide at Warwick Farm against a pretty average race, but it just was a riding on the wall run, finding the line all the way to the line from a tough position. Bolero King is now third up from a long spell, 467 day spell. Has raced well at both those runs back. Goes 11, 12.50 back to the 12, gets the senior rider and a nice little gate to position wherever it wants to, basically. It does look exceptionally well placed. Kings of Leon's airborne, draws wide but gets Bowman. $2.80 looks short enough, no doubt about that, but will be charging late, you'd think, around the one bend circuit here and shouldn't be held up in the straight. I could see Eaton Lord Von Costa coming down the outside here and coming after Bolero King, with Last Witness needing a bit of luck to be the other main winning hope. Bolero King around the $5 mark probably looks the most solid play. Lucky Last, and probably the hardest race of the day. Let's have a look at the map. Kingsguard obviously will press from this outside gate, second outside gate. Drags a few with it. Maracaba resumes with the blinkers. You'll have horses like Zinzan Eddie lay down the law if it gets a run. Gold Ambition kicking up, and should get an even enough tempo. I think $8 is not a bad price, Kingsguard. If they run along, I'm looking to find Imanui. Does still have the apprentice aboard with the lightweight, but its run first up was really good. It should have been winning there. Up 200 metres is to his liking. He likes the firm surfaces. He does handle the wet, but definitely firmer the better for him. He ran very well first up in that Nat King Cooper Trossian race. Diz a step up here, but he should improve. Staines nice and short, around 5 to 2 with most $3.50 with most shops. His effort was good as well last start against a slow tempo and really did a good job to pick up late. Slightly backing distance here nor there from a good gate. McAvoy sticks after Bowman has to get off, and it does look well enough placed but short enough. Divine Style's an enigmatic horse that is around the $8 or $9 chance of mark, and that's probably fair enough. And Invincible Knight's the other horse that looks really progressive here and around the $9 mark as well. We'll give them a start. Pelothonius is racing well, there's no doubt about that, but this is a big step up, has to get an extra 100 metres, which doesn't look a big issue, but it's the class that may tell here. Definitely a much steeper race. Very, very tough closing event. Invincible Knight, a winning chance. Kingsguard, a definite winning chance. Divine Style, a winning chance. Francesco, just not sure that he's going to run the 1500 out as strong as a couple of these, but he's going well enough. Minor Freshie can definitely improve for the Kinmore yard. Staying definitely a solid winning hope, and Imanui, he's just a nice horse, and I'd much rather him draw 15 than 1. Hopefully he gets a drag into it and he can be really strong late and around the $10. Does look the value runner here. So tough one to finish. Tough day all round. Quite a few queries. A couple of races that do look two horsey races. Best of the day for me will be Could Have Been. Saving on Super 2 and similar play in race 3. I'll be backing Magic Alibi to win again and saving on Clipper. I think they're pretty good plays. I think Could Have Been just a slightly better bet than Magic Alibi. It's just a bit more adaptive and a bit more adaptable, and should race a bit closer where Magic Alibi has a chance of giving them away a bit more of a start. Thanks guys, and I will be away, but doing my best to keep everyone up to date. Any changes between now and Saturday, I'll send something through and make sure that all the sheets and everything are done for Saturday. Thanks guys.